One-man armories. The type of characters that you would always title as the means of not only a character that brings grit, unlimited means of resources, rack of all trades brilliance. They have a means of calling to do things like no other. They are impetuous with will. They hold no thing back in the face of death. They stand 10 toes like a mountain. They hold glimpses of the past and their convictions to give them the arsenal, to give them the routinely inventory and skills adeptly to strike fear, power, and legendariness. They are iconic for doing the thing that no other could, making the impossible be possible. To me, the biggest candidate of this is none other than the Dark Knight, Batman, the Caped Crusader, the famed guardian of Gotham, member of the Justice League, leader of the Bat family, father to multiple Robins, and hero to multiple, but definitely feared by many. He's easily one of the world's finest for a reason. But to me, one of my favorite stories of him that's easily a top 5 is the iconic story that was built from the death in the family, where the famed technical second canonical Robin, Jason Todd, died in the means to become something more, to become the Red Hood. Iconically, one of, if not for a lot of people, one of the greatest anti-heroes to ever come out, the greatest adversary and as well ally on some occasions of Batman, and as well be one of the most infamous case of beings brought about because of the failure, the case of the cruelty of fans, and most importantly, incompetence of DC. A go-to character with so much potential, but unfortunately every time robbed of that greatness. But I've been asked to compete him against one of the greatest case of walking armories, rack of all trades demon, or farming, and easily in his verse, besides the famed Dark Dread, possibly the most popular of his verse. I'm talking Boba Fett, the famed Mandalorian, notorious for his specialties and uncomparable means of arsenal, unlimited means of will, and as well, fey bringing like no other. The definition of an aura bandit, a acclaimed case of bounty hunter that stands unparalleled in his scouting, tracking, and closing. Boba, guns a-blazing Fett himself, biggest usurper of the case of his race, even arguably to the same match of his famed father, Jango Fett. Hope you guys will enjoy this video. I already talked about Boba Fett before, so I'll load Boba Fett stuff down, and we'll talk about the case of Red Hood later. Hope you guys will enjoy. Let's go and get it in. After the death of Jango Fett, technical father of Boba Fett, even if Boba Fett, like others, is a clone of him, unlike the other clones, Boba Fett, greatest of arguably the Mandalorian in his race, showed out in greatest sense of not only expertise training. From a young age, was a prodigy of combat, marksmanship, all different aspects of being a soldier, was a very much capable fighter, and in any situation stood like no other, leading charge of a young group of mercenaries, bounty hunters, and killers from a very young age, showing heart, ferocity, undoubtedly a built different, very much talk shit, get hit individual, sicked on any person that dare get in his way, and was a crime lord and ruthless, unrefutably very much cunning, clever, and expertise killing machine, and has built himself up off of the back of the armor of his father to be all different, not only the most capable killer of all time, remodelizing and recoloring it to his fashion and using every capability of his father to greater expertise and even advancement. He is not only undoubtedly, like I said, the most popular of the galaxy for his very much unprecedented, uncomparable bounty hunting skills, was trusted as pretty much being the lead killer and hitman of the Empire of Darth Vader, was always seen in high different respect, was even complimented by Darth Sidious, and is a man that nobody can deny deserves his popularity within Star Wars. With that both being said, in the matter for the case of being, not only again a clone, Boba, was created on the wild space planet of Kamino as a result of enragement between the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus and Jango Fett, a Mandalorian foundling who served as a template of the Grand Army of the Republic. Unlike the clone troopers grown from Jango's DNA, Jango regarded Boba as his son. During the last days of the Separatist races, Boba and Jango retreated to Geonosis, where the latter was killed in battle by the Jedi Master Mace Windu. Orphaned by Jango's death, Boba sought vengeance by attempting to assassinate Windu. Although his plan proved unsuccessful, after serving time in prison on Coruscant, Fett took up his late father's profession as a bounty hunter, working alongside other mercenaries, such as Bossk, Dingur, and the Sanji Ventress, while also notably apprenticing himself to his father's infamous brief protege, Cad Bane, another person that is not only revered as being a built different gunslinger, totem dual-wielding blaster, elite killer of the galaxy, basically seen as the Aaron Black of the verse, but easily you can argue all day who's a greater shot, who's a greater case of bounty hunter, is dang near equal to mixed arguable to be superior to Boba Fett and at least pure shot. They have both been equal to each other, have multiple run-ins and close encounters with each other, and they're both people that respect each other in multiple forms. And this would easily put this man not only in run-around of different shot, way greater than like someone like Seer Junda, who by the words of Thriller was the best shot that she has ever seen. And that is coming from just a person not only of the highest order of arguably a lot of different Night Sisters and Night Brothers, but very ridiculous skill argument. And Seer Junda was a force to be reckoned with not only in shot, but also the Force. This would also put reasonably Boba Fett as undeniably so very high in, especially because he did defeat him, even though with very much context in mind. So, with that being said, this would very much make Boba Fett and any other person that you could think of very much a strong foundation for scaling of not only shot proficiency but other things. He's also been accounted to be the greatest of different talk of the Mandalorians and different clones, which might put him very much at the top, but there has been debate if like Mando could possibly scale to him. You can argue that all day if you want. I'm not here to conversate about that, at least not at this moment. With that being said, regardless of where you put him, he is again very much from all this scaling chain, very built different in different accolade of skill, shot proficiency, and suffice to say, a one-man army in different accolades of killing. And is a man that literally in every case of the way is a walking firearm. In the aftermath of the Clone Wars, Fett continued to make a name for himself while working for the gangster Jabba the Scriptura, as well as the Sith Lord Darth Vader. During the Galactic Civil War, the bounty hunter managed to track down Captain Han Solo to Bespin on a contract for the Galactic Empire, hoping to deliver him to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. During the journey, Fett stopped on the moon of Nar Shaddaa in order to make sure Solo would survive his time in Covenant, but he lost to the smuggler while he was away as part of the return of the Crimson Dawn. Kicking off the war of the bounty hunters, ultimately Fett regained Solo and delivered him to the impatient Jabba, showcasing that no matter what comes his way, he is a build different tracker and closer, especially with every form of technology allows him to do different infrared, see-through / thermal radiation vision. He also has different form of tracking that can track for over hundreds of meters, and as well has multiple things in his arsenal involving a jetpack, different solar rays that are beyond just seeing solar radiation and different occasions of different see-through thermal predator like vision, and also has different things that allow him to, in different enclosures, find ways to get out of dodge, like flares, smoke bombs, different cases, different artillery of that sort, and this all will very much scale to someone, again, like I said, with Mando. Fett tried to prevent Solo's rescue by the Alliance to restore the Republic, only to fall into the Great Pit of Carkoon, where the smuggler accidentally slammed a pole into the bounty hunter's jetpack, causing it to malfunction. Although Fett survived his ordeal with the man-eating Sarlacc, which a lot of people use as a thing to say of, an L for him, but again, obviously providing you the context, and at the same time, he was obviously very much outdoing some different people, and even the words of Luke Skywalker said that Boba Fett was somebody that he's never seen before and actually had the young Skywalker trembling in mixed arguable fear of what this bounty hunter could do. Besides all that, when it comes down to the greater case scaling involving the case of Boba Fett, like I said, would be very much highly in reveredness to a lot of these different people. And when it comes down to his arsenal and his skills, he not only outskills dozens upon dozens of different people in the talk and accolade of skill, expertise, scales to light back to back, which because obviously in Star Wars these are counted to be blasters, you see light, you see them blaring, you see all the stuff, and someone like Cad Bane's light literally flares in different smoking of different form, of different not only, combustion, but makes him very much relative to light moving dozens of times to the speed of light, to dozens of times over the speed of light, about in the over dozens of thousands to hundreds of thousands speed of light range. Now, in the skill proficiency and his different accolades, he has multiple different tools. Flamethrower, a full whip tangle form of basically Tologus, aka pretty much a grappling hook whip. He also has multiple different little torpedoes, needles, concussions, syringes that not only bring about poison, disorientation, bombs. He can obviously fly with his jetpack. He has a big homing, big ass fucking missile that torpedo rockets to anything. He can scan on any different form of location. His armor is made out of Teskar, aka pretty much Star Wars, I would say equivalent to adamantium. He's very skilled. He's very durable. Nobody can stand to him a lot of time with this. He's very resilient with this stuff. Don't get it twisted. He does take damage, but the fact that he can pretty much just no-sell out of this stuff and be pretty much unstoppable within these different mixes, and only a lot of the time he gets put down either by higher caliber stuff but still has his armor intact, or he gets put down almost by people with higher potency of this. But the fact that it takes things that would be pretty much a cool equivalent of basically, you could argue, way beyond small building to building level altitude of stuff, and he's been able to take down foes and different beings, regardless of it be mix of canon or legends, that would institute these different things. There's very much a lot of argumentation to put Boba Fett most of the time, most consistently, most congruently on the level because of every scaling chain and every demonstration shown on screen, to some arguable, again, very much contextual mixed talk level, putting him aimlessly multiple times over on at least the bare minimum of a city block level, yielding an explosion. His weapon's able to dip forces that are able to take different force pushes from low-end suppressed different Jedi Masters. He's very revered, able to capture very high caliber mixed different people that are able to scale mixed reaction speed to very much high aimlessly capable people. And again, Boba Fett has a lot of arguments from all his different explosion yields, everything that he does, and what Teskar armor of different other people have been able to take, that he should be able to take in these things. And with his jetpack would easily greater give him that argument and those capabilities. Red Hood, the famed Robin turned into an anti-hero, a crimson vengeance, a builder for marksman, and of course, an elite fighter. When it comes down to the Red Hood that I'm talking about Red Hood, the mainline comics of DC, main take of not only New 52 / Regenform comics. With this being said, in a greater run of his character, this man Jason Todd was down in the dump, from the case of a crack addict to greater case of heroin addict mother, an abusive father that left, down the dump in the city, learning how to go about surviving through scavenging, jacking, stealing multiple different things, being nothing but a little case of delinquent, go to lead on a life of crime, but was caught by the Batman jacking his tires, and actually successfully. Took him in, became Robin, but unfortunate tragedy would strike, in the case of this man Joker, thinking of the ultimate joke, to kill the famed Batman's Robin, clip his bird's feathers, killing Jason as seemed, but was eventually taken by the case of Ra's al Ghul to be used as a possible means of puppet, in mixed sense of like sympathy depending on the version of the case of the event, where he saw what the Joker did as inhumane more than ever. Reviving him as a man with a big calling of demon time, blacker force energy surging through his veins, training in multiple different form of specialties, an elite combatant that scales over multiple people in mixed argument of the Bat family that still make multiple famed people, like Catwoman, scaling to a shorty that could face on the shorty Harley Quinn, a person that can get over the case of Cassandra Cain, and as well being over Damien, who has showcased multiple times ridiculous potential, even if he's not entirely the best, as well standing over the case of Tim Drake. Now granted, the scaling chain consistently for this man Red Hood is that he can still make these people, but a lot of the time is either being held back on or is not being taken seriously, because of the fact of the matter is that Jason, even though can be very capable, you can do a lot of different means of like cutting hairs and being unconservative on the idea that as a Bat Fame member, as a member of the case of one of the not the most popular team on the case of technically more or less, family group, of DC, and being a well-acclaimed person that has stood to Batman with the technology and capabilities. He has been reduced a little bit more grounded, a lot more up and heavy, kind of Casey Jonesified, took his different potential. But regardless, if you want to talk about armor this, technology this, and mixed talk this, he still is a very brutal, ruthless, and every level of predominant and every force showing, very built different case of not only individual, a top tier shooter with 2 mainline case of pistols, Desert Eagles, bombs, multi-different line scope, synthetic multi-different unique technology, knives, and again has combated people that scale to multiple different runs of skill set and showcasings. In the long run, because of these showcasings, and the fact of the matter is that because he's able to still make Batman to anything, there's easy multiple plethora of feats and showcasings of this man not only scaling to people that should be able to fight dozens of people that scale easily in the bare minimum small building plus multi-city block, town level, city level case of equivalent. He stood to multiple people that could scale way beyond that. He easily is one of the more higher end street tier characters that is not somebody to play around with, is not a slouch, and because of the fact that infamously his technical father has stood in the case of a canon storyline to Captain America. This will illustrate the fact that this man Red Hood, even if he's not on the same scale, multiple people that in comparison have an argument of scale to Captain America from that event. Multiple talks of very different skill set. The fact that Batman is part of the Justice League and can mix react and keep it with some, and free technology, prep time or whatever, set to mix different form of people, but consistently being the most concrete, would easily be in a mixed argument of scaling because of case of scaling to Captain America scaling to Deadpool, Spider-Man, and then so on. And of course Daredevil, which people think reasonably Nightwing, from not only the comic, an actual upcoming comic that is going to be canon, and as well consideration of the fact that Nightwing has every capability to stand reasonably ball for ball, toe to toe against someone as well, like Daredevil, makes reasonably this man himself, Red Hood, possibly scaled it easily. The case of the multi-continental to planetary, whatever you want to try to actually go about from this scaling, making him easily dozens of times way beyond general comprehension, and speed be easily multiple times bullet timing, hypersonic, master hypersonic, relativistic, or to the speed of light. He's very built different, and is undeniably so a very well added addition to the Bat family, or even adversary depending on the case, and can hold his own, suppress, or fully going all out depending on the case of how you perceive him. Reasonably so, this inadvertently makes him be somebody of very hard A standing of skill, capability, and repertoire, of course. And because of all the skin that I've laid out, all the case of not only his standing to people and any form of formidableness to be considered, this reasonably would make someone like Red Hood easy as an obvious, way beyond a comprehension of this man Boba Fett. I don't know what entirely the person was, wanting in the case of wanting to, see this, but let me just make this clear, that it's not bad that you want to go and see a fight, but you might not know the greater power, skill, and scaling, and all this knowledge of old Red Hood. Again, I don't know if they didn't expect this, you want to know the great capabilities of this man Red Hood, but it's an obvious with the case of, like I said, with this man Punisher, even though it's a lot more fair to say with the Red Hood, that because he's from DC Comics, and of course a comic book character, there's a lot more capability to be way ridiculous than you would expect, and this instantly makes him, with multiple characters, way beyond his comprehension. So again, I said so out of respect. I appreciate the person in question that requested it, and it's not bad that he did. It's just the fact of the matter is that, again, Red Hood and multiple things that I show and display showcase him to be way beyond the comprehension of Boba Fett, regardless how you see this. And I don't even need to be as long as that video was, in this 40 minutes from recollection. Simply put, even if it was equal stats, and no matter if you feel like this man Red Hood is a little bit more grounded, mixed essence and stuff of being more like clean, sleek, biker jacket, more fully street, grounded, street brawler, full-fledged, elite squabbler, Jason Bourne, John Wick, a little Leon S. Kennedy level of general baseline equipment, or he has a good sense of compact form armor that makes him be what he is most protesting, to be, even without it, be a rack of all trades living armory, and be one of the most resourceful scrappers and cunning individuals in the case of, DC, and still being every much of an ingenious of brutality. He would still have every argument to get around Boba Fett, especially his Beskar armor, with his explosions, his experience, and the fact that he has faced people that wield similar means of tech aura capabilities to Boba Fett. He has the experience of fighting along multiple people within the Bat family, his own run of teams, Teen Titans, can be able to scale and fight alongside people like Starfire, Red Arrow, etc. Meaning that in the end, no matter how you see it, even though it would probably be a lot more closer fight and could be interesting, Red Hood would body this man Boba Fett most times than not, mid-diff, most of the times confidently. Essentially because no matter if he might seem like he's just wielding normal form guns in comparison to blasters, his guns and the means of his marksmanship and capabilities is way more surgically built different than this man Boba Fett could even comprehend, and Boba Fett has been stalemated by someone like Cad Bane, who is not in any case of the way on the same means, at least being, actually confident in most different straight lines of shooting on the same level as this man Red Hood, even with the argument for Cad Bane to be able to outmatch somebody with possible precognition, advanced senses, or whatever. So in conclusion, again, hope they enjoyed the video, regardless how it may be, especially in a more shortened time for Boba Fett. But again, it's the facts of the matter. This is a comic book character, and hopefully in another case of video request, I make that clear. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. Let me know what more verse battles you guys want. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out, mommy. Love y'all.
Why are they so afraid of us?
Minerva.
Welcome back, Diana.